man. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Oh, man. I'm about to take y'all on a journey this morning. Holy cow. Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. And we back in the cave. Episode number 8. The 80s reign of rock and its influence. That was a serious decade of my life. Very, very influential. Let's see what we got in the building so far. Derek Gaines, the legend. Macadose Mac of the South, Rod Neal. Steve Elder Mac. Robert Singleton. Shepherd King, Mind of Mansa Musa, Michael Ray. The Village Brother. E.S. Phenomenal Mexican, Mr. Shelton. Rampage, Eric Jordan, my brother. What's going on? Smash the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man. My brother Ack Wayne in the building. With salute, man. What's good with you?
What's good, bro? What's good? What's good to all the family in the chat? You know, Drew had me dive into something I had never seen before. But yeah, we're gonna cover it. We're gonna cover it today, man. Heavy metal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This was the timing of this film was actually quite perfect. It was actually quite perfect. Let's talk about real quick. For those of you that don't know, y'all probably recognize, if you're my age, you probably recognize the wording of it. If you bought comics or been in any stationery store, you've seen this magazine, whether you picked it up or not. And one thing you'll notice is that the artwork on the cover was always weird. But I'm an artist and I have a crazy imagination. And, you know, things like that always caught my eye. All right. This was, and I always used to say, what was that? I never picked up the magazine. But one thing that stuck out was that the artwork and the influences, because, you know, MTV was in its infancy. Matter of fact, this goes before MTV, as a matter of fact. This was a whole genre. This was an entire genre. This, like right here, what you're looking at right here, this artwork is called fantasy art. And what this, it represented a whole genre, the music, the wild hair, the rock bands, even some punk rock was very influential in what these, I guess that you call them kids at the time, were doing. You know what I mean? And if you remember, you know, those pop-up fairs that were in every city USA. Me and Stormy was talking about this. They had them in Chicago. They had them in New York. They had these pop-up fairs that would just show up in any city. We had a couple in the Bronx. Had a few in the Bronx. There was a big one out where I live. And the mini roller coasters and those horror houses. You seen the artwork on the side of those rides. It would be like a barbarian holding up a sword and a shining star and a witch. All of that is called fantasy art. All of that is called fantasy art. And they would play this rock music. And it was an entire genre. It was an entire genre. And it was creative, man. It was creative. And heavy metal represented that genre. And it represented it well. And in 1981, they made a movie. If you go to YouTube, the heavy metal soundtrack is on YouTube. You know, it might be outdated for some of you younger cats, but, you know, to me, it fit the genre. It really did. And I enjoyed it. True Boxing Night, Shogun, salute. Let me just give you a brief background. Heavy Metal was an American science fiction and fantasy comic magazine published between 1977 and 2023. The magazine was known primarily for its blend of dark fantasy, science fiction, and erotica in steampunk comics. Erotica. Now, this is what this is where we get a little tricky. All right, this is where we're gonna get a little tricky. This is where it gets tricky. This movie, Just Spark, D-Man, what up? This movie came out in 1981. Heavy Metal, the film, came out in 1981. And I remember I have an older brother. And my older brother, and I have an older cousin that's older than my older brother. And they're brothers. So I got two older cousins and my older brother. And they said, all right, we're going to the movies. We're going to see that Heavy Metal film. I said, great, let's go. My pops was like, no, you don't. I was like, where you going to go? I want to go to the movies with them. And it was like, nope. It was like, yeah, sorry, man, it's not for kids. What do you mean it's not for kids? You're still a kid. My brother's only 5 years older than me. You know, so I'm like, my pops was like, nah. So I don't know why it was okay for an 11-year-old to go with his older cousins, but a 6-year-old couldn't go. I was about 6 when this came out. So Derek Gaines, what up? Yo. So they went and they came back, they high-fived, and I'm like, oh man, I didn't get to see it, right? I didn't see this until it came on HBO. That was about maybe, I might have saw it when I was 8. And I was like, yo, what? Still at 8 years old, I'm watching this like, oh shoot, what? Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. When they say science fiction, fantasy, and erotica, yeah, it definitely was that. That was the first time I saw animated boobs. I mean, and then full frontal nudity on women. I was like, ooh, what? Crazy stuff, man. And this is 1981. And I remember when it was the commercials for this, it was rated R. Rated R. And I was like, how could that be? It's a cartoon. Yeah, no. If you haven't seen this film, see it. They made a sequel in 2000. To me, it wasn't as good, but I'll review it sometime down the road. The Heavy Metal 2000 came out in 2000. This right here, it captured everything that the magazine was about. Let me just give you a brief background. Heavy Metal is a 1981 Canadian adult animated science fantasy anthology film directed by Gerald Potterton and produced by Ivan Reitman and Leonard Mogul, who was a publisher of Heavy Metal magazine, which was it was the basis of the film. It started the voices of Roger Bonpere. So you don't know, a lot of the other guys know this guy, but one guy that he did a voice of a character that we're gonna discuss. Y'all remember John Candy, the comedian, the actor who died? He was one of the voices of the characters on here. The movie takes you on a journey. It's an anthology of various science fiction and fantasy stories tied together by a single theme of an evil force called the sum of all evils. All right, it was adapted from Heavy Metal magazine, the original stories in the same spirit. All right, it's very violent, it's very sexual, a lot of nudity, but I'm gonna take you on the journey, man, because this is a part of my childhood, man. So here I go. Yeah, Uncle Buck. You remember Robert Singleton when he was Uncle Buck in that film? That shit was crazy.
Drew, your dad wasn't wrong for not, you know what I mean? Y'all the reason why in my era TV ratings started popping up, because that didn't come until my generation.
When you watched it, what was the first thing when you watched it? First, when the movie started, what were your thoughts when you first started watching it? Because I know when I first started, I was like, What is this?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. First off, I could tell that the way the illustration was, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen, and Drew, I knew that it was 80s. God
yeah,
was the 80s. I could tell that right there. Even if I didn't know the year, I would have been like, oh, this is 80s. You know what I mean?
yep,
Just because I had a drawing and the illustration was. Then I started noticing all the girls were stacked. I
yep,
was like, yo, all of the girls, I don't think I seen one skinny girl.
yep.
And that's so the dudes that drew it, you know what I mean? It kind of made me laugh, Drew. It just made me laugh because I was like, okay, they go one way when it comes to like drawing the ladies in this movie. But it also to give y'all an idea, it reminded me of Lord of the Rings. You know, as far as with the Sumo Evil, the orb, the green orb. I
Yep.
know we're gonna get into it and we're gonna talk about it. I don't want to give too much away until you're ready, but it gave me that sort of vibe, like whoever came into contact with that thing, it ultimately like kind of twisted them for evil, like it's called. So yeah, man. I'm ready for you to build, man. What
Yeah,
else you got?
yeah, yeah. This was crazy. So here I go up my slides. This is the beginning. They called it soft landing. So the movie starts. The spaceship. Back in the 80s, one of the first spaceships that we built was called the Columbia. This is 81. I think it was the Columbia. The second one was called the Challenger. And I don't want to talk too much about that because if you're my age, you know what happened. Ack, you know about the Challenger shuttle?
No, did something happen or
Yeah, some
like
cats. I forgot how old I was. I may have been in high school, but some cats watched it, and 7 astronauts got into that thing, and they were going into space for something, and it blew up on live on
oh
TV. It
wow.
blew up on. We was watching it like, well, I didn't see it till I got home, and watching it like, what's going on? And there was kids that watched it live. It was like an event for them, and it was like, that's not right. It exploded. It exploded. It was NASA. I don't know. It was a mess. It was they messed up, man, and we lost 7 astronauts. Seven
It's
astronauts.
crazy.
And of course, you know, the black community, there was one brother on there, and nobody survived. That was crazy. And it blew up taking off. It got into this, it was crazy. It's on, you could look it up. You could look it up on,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
on
sure.
YouTube.
Yeah, I'm
It
sure.
was like
I'll try to find it. You said the Challenger, right?
Challenger, yeah. It was the second one because the Columbia, it was all white. And that's where this car came out of. It came out the bay and it flew down in the earth. But the Challenger was white, but the bottom was black.
Okay.
And yeah, man. Yeah, and it flew up, and Queen said she was watching it live in 9th grade. Yep. It was a lot of kids. It traumatized a lot of kids because they didn't know what they were looking at. And I heard teachers were turning the TV. When the teachers figured out that wasn't right, they turned the TV off, and I was like, all right, kids, let's go back to class. And I was like, yo, what the hell? And it made the news. I know I saw it when I got home. It was like, yo, it blew up, man. They were crazy, man. They were finding body parts and shit. It was crazy, man. It was so unfortunate, man. So unfortunate, man. That was just bad, man. That was bad. But I didn't want to get off into that. But that's a part of our American history, man. One of those things. The Challenger explosion. It was crazy. Anyway, so this astronaut is flying in the it looked like the Columbia. The bottom of the bay opens, and he heads out in this car, and he comes into the atmosphere of Earth. And this is a part of the fantasy art that I'm talking about. When I first saw this, I said, "Is he driving a damn car? It's impossible." He, comes in burning up on the atmosphere. Shade Girl, salute. And he lands and he starts driving to his crib. I was like, man, this is crazy right here. And they're playing the heavy metal music. And I'm like, man, that's dope. That is dope. So he lands and he drives to his crib. So the first scene is called Soft Landing. Right? So he drives and, he's an astronaut, right? He comes to his crib where his daughter's there. And he has something in the suitcase and she's asking him, hey, what do you got? He says, you'll see. Remember that scene, Act? He said, you'll see. He puts the
daughter, the daughter, I didn't know what she would play in the future, but I just thought it was a regular dad coming home with a gift. You know how you go on trips, you go to another country. My sister and my brother-in-law, they love doing that. I do it too when I come back if I go, out of the country. So that's what I thought it was going to be. But, continue on, Drew. I don't want to.
Yep, that's right. That's why I was asking. So he put the suitcase on there, opens it up, and it's this green light. And there's an orb in the suitcase. And they're looking at it. And it's downhill from there, ladies and gentlemen. That orb gets out the suitcase, melts the father.
Yes.
Melts him. All right. This is
in front of her.
Grimaldi. I guess that was his name, Grimaldi. And Grimaldi bought the farm at full price because he took a L. As you can see, that thing came out and melted his ass, melted him to the bone, killed him. And it goes to the little girl. And he said, the orb is talking to him. I am the son of all evils, of all realities. And it starts telling her how he's traveled the universe. And he's been around and he's done some things. And he's going to share stories with her. Hence, the movie begins. And this is the beginning of the movie, y'all. Kills, I guess that's her father. And now this green floating ball won't let her leave the house and is talking shit to her. Can you imagine? You just want to go play with your Barbies and this green orb just killed your pops and is talking shit to you. When you saw this scene, what was your thoughts when you saw this scene?
First off, I didn't know they wore chokers in the 80s. Especially little girls.
Mark, put up. Yeah, that was crazy. I was like, ooh. What?
But on a serious note, I thought it was kind of crazy for her to watch her father get disintegrated right in front of her eyes, and then I seen like what the orb was saying to her, like how he traveled and he been places. So I kind of knew it was going to touch on different stories. It did kind of bug me out at first because I didn't know what direction it was. I swear, I genuinely thought the dad, after he landed, he was just going to come home with a souvenir for his daughter. Usual father, son and his father and daughter, stuff like that when they come back from a long trip. Salute, Mark. And that kind of threw me off when he got disintegrated in front of her. And then, like you said, the orb just started talking to her and saying how, he's been around, basically.
Yeah.
He's been around, and he's going to explain to her, his power and the things that he's done and saw.
Yep. And she tried to dip, but the shit kept getting in front of her. You know what I mean? It was crazy. Tiago Rose, salute, man. So this part of the story is called Grimaldi, and Grimaldi ain't make it. And now you got a green orb in the crib talking shit. And he got it from space. They never explained how he got it from space. So now he's the orb, which we later find out is called the Lochnar, is telling her these stories. And I'm trying to figure out why he's telling her the story. Of course, you got to wait till the end. Right? So that's Grimaldi, man. This was crazy. This was absolutely nuts, bro. So This is the first story. This was one of my. Well, I love the whole movie, but the first story, they didn't waste no time. This story is called Harry Canyon. On the lower right hand side, that he's a New York cab driver. Now let me read to you what this plot is.
Too.
He's Italian, yeah. In a dystopian and crime-ridden New York City in 2031, we're almost there. A cynical taxi cab driver, Harry Canyon, narrates his day in film noir style, grumbling about his fares and frequent robbery attempts. By the way, you wouldn't want to get in the back of his cab and try and rob him.
I was just about to say that, Drew. Not him. Not him. Don't do it.
It would not work out for you.
Ain't nothing sweet. Yes, you mess around. Yo, look, you mess around and you wish Darth Vader was there. No disintegration.
Yo, for real, bro. the brother had a disintegrator. He pressed it with his foot, and you would just get fried out and vanish. I don't even know how you would police report that. I mean, there's no bones or nothing.
Yes, no nothing. There's no trace of you. Yes,
there's nothing. You're like
one of the dudes. One of the dudes get in the back of the car actually in the beginning, and they display that. If Drew don't mind me telling, and he tries to stick him up. He thought he was going to get, do his regular cab runs or whatever, and he had the gun to the back of his head, and he flicks the switch on him, and
it was over. It was over for him. So he has a disintegrator installed in the back seat. He stumbles into an incident where he rescues a red-haired young woman from Rudnick. One of my boys' name is Rudnick. That's his last name. A gangster who murdered her father. It was like a shootout, whatever. And killed the dude. I think her father was a scientist. He tells her to run. And runs into Harry Canyon's cab. And he started to mind his business, but, he saw how stacked she was. He let her in the car, right? She explains that her father had the lock-on. Now, what's crazy is there's a scene prior to this where these dudes were like digging like in a hole, and they found it in one of the sub.
Oh, they was miners? Were they?
Miners,
okay. I thought they were like, okay. I didn't know. Were like, maybe that's how they look. They're gonna look in the future.
Yeah, they were miners.
I was like, are they garbage men or the people that clean up? Like,
it seemed like they were a part of his science team, and they grabbed it, and they were like subhumans. Matter of fact, they were aliens, because the things that he was beefing about, if you notice, he was like, yo, they're goddamn legal aliens. They're like really aliens are now incorporated in our world now. You remember the scene when he went to the precinct to drop her off? And the cops had that dude. The guy was like, I must have lost my papers or something. That was an alien. He was like, man, goddamn legal aliens.
And you remember what the cop said to him, Drew? He needed to, even to hear his story, he wanted what, like $1,000? He wanted
like $1,000 just to hear his story.
Yeah, what did he give him? Yeah.
he gave him like
$1.
Yeah, he's like, yo,
a penny or so.
Yeah, man. It was crazy. But it's just going to show you that law worked different. Everything was different. And this was like their interpretation of what New York was going to look like. A futuristic shithole. Because you got to remember, in the 80s, 42nd Street was not the 42nd Street of today. I'm sure you heard the story.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's
and this was like an OD version. This is an OD version of the shithole 42nd Street with flying cars. And, whatever, man. So Harry, this woman's doctor, this woman's father finds a lock-on. One of those aliens that's working with him picks it up, and it fries him and disintegrates him. He's like, oh, shit. So somehow he gets a hold of it and puts it in a canister. And this dude on the far right named Rudnick, who's also an alien, he wants the lock-on, and now she has it. Right? So now they're trying to find her and kill her. But Harry Canyon is so... The character is based off of two actors, in my opinion. Now, I can't confirm whether they did...
Don't tell me the Fonz. Don't tell me you think the dude...
No.
Oh, okay.
He's based off of two Hollywood characters that were very popular in the 80s. One was Clint Eastwood, right? With that I don't give a F attitude. The other was an actor named Steve McQueen. And Steve McQueen was in an old movie called Fort Apache, the Bronx. He was a tough
I never
guy.
seen that movie, but I know who Stephen McQueen is.
Yep.
The Cincinnati Kid. My mom loved that movie, The Cincinnati Kid.
Yep. So I'm guessing Harry Canyon was a fusion of both of those guys. So what ends up happening is Harry saves this girl, takes her to the apartment where he's like, yeah, make yourself at home. There's beer in the fridge, and he goes to bed. And then she goes over to him and says, Harry, can I sleep in the bed with you?
Drew, my fault. But Drew, why he offer her? He didn't have nothing to drink in
He
it.
was a
Drew,
slob.
I just had to interject.
He was a slob. You saw how he was living? He was a slob. He was a dirty cab driver.
You ain't have no water. You ain't have no water, no juice, no nothing for that girl. He said there's beer in the fridge, and he went to go lay down.
Yeah, listen, he saved her, and he wasn't even bothering her. She got up, and matter of fact, when he came back from the police station, do you remember? By the way, sidebar. Do you remember when he went into the police station? He saw the prostitutes in there, the black women.
Yeah, why the main prostitute got to be the black one? Drew, where my gavel at? It's Black History Month. We ain't going out like that. I gotta bang the gavel on y'all for that. We not having that. You ain't getting away with that. You ain't getting not on the judge watch.
No,
the judge watch. You supposed to let that slide in February. All that type of stuff. You supposed to skip the scene,
bro. That was crazy. That was crazy. What he said, because he had her in her arms and she was passed out. When he pulled up, he was gonna let her out and be like, "Yo, go handle your business." She's like, "Yo, man, just tell him." And then that second slide you see right there, he said, "Oh shit, she passed out." So he had to carry her in there. He met the cop at the desk, and he was like, "Yo, to hear your story, it's gonna cost X amount of dollars." But when he walked through the door, all the prostitutes that they had caught were just sitting there waiting to see a judge or something. And she was like, "Hi, Harry." They knew him by name. He was like, "Yeah, what happened with her? She couldn't take it, huh?" And he was like, "It was crazy. It was crazy." You know what's crazy? Want to know what's crazier? When you see how they portrayed the black woman, notice that they were hookers, right? Did they not look like how women look today with the weird color in their hair?
Good point.
See what I mean? I said, wow. You go back and watch it. I was like, that is strange. They had like purple hair. And I said, man, chicks walking around with purple hair right now. You know what I'm saying? The fat one, that was, I was like, oh, man. Weird stuff. And salute to my brother, Eric Jordan, in that Cash App, man, for the content, man. Much love and appreciation, man. I appreciate you, good brother. Thank you so much, man. Man, listen. That was funny as hell. He's like, she couldn't take it, huh? He was like, kiss my ass. He flipped her the bird. And you know what she said? Did you hear what she said when he left the police station? She said, "I'll do it for 25.
Yes,
like,
yep, she sure did. She sure did.
I was like, wow.
Man, so 25? I would have thought it would have been more. Now that 2030, what was it, 2031?
2031. This was year this thing takes place. So the movie's just starting, and they let you know how they coming. I was like, damn.
I'm glad they started in New York, Drew.
Yeah.
Glad they started in New York because that's what drew me into it. And I said that. I said, is that supposed to be an old 42nd Street? I was like,
yeah, it's exactly what it was.
Where they at?
It's exactly what it was. So he gets in his cab. He pulls up on a hot dog vendor that's a robot. Takes one bite out of the hot dog, throws it away.
Threw it out.
Yup. And then these goons on these hovering motorcycles start chasing him. Now, again, Harry ain't no joke because they're trying to chase him with this girl. And this motherfucker got guns in the back of his car. And he equips the guns and shoots these dudes out the damn sky. It's crazy. It's a whole chase scene. I said, man, the cops union, the cab driver union must be crazy in the future.
Yo,
they have a right to take your life.
You ain't lying, and I hope they got insurance. I hope if you get the job,
word up,
they give
man.
you insurance.
He had armor on his windows. It was crazy. It's like driving a mini tank. You know what I mean? So then he gets back, and now he's laying in the bed. Shorty comes into the bed with him. And
I'd rather sleep with you.
Yeah. and they made sure they showed you the full frontal. I mean, she stacked up top. They showed you the pubes, everything. I said, damn.
Yo, yeah, Drew. Like, I was kind of surprised by that. I thought by then, you know what I mean? It was a clean shave.
Nah, he beat those buns. He beat those buns. And the interesting part is during that scene, they played that popular song by a group called Journey. Now I come to you with open arms. I'm like, damn, they really have a real soundtrack for this thing. So he beat those buns, goes to sleep, wakes up, she gone. She gone, right? The cops kick his door in. There's like, yo, where's the girl? He's like, what girl? He's like, you came to the precinct yesterday with a girl on your shoulder. Where is she? He says, I don't know. He said, man, you hear from that girl, you call us. If you don't, you're dead. And he's like, man, damn it. So now he got to find a chick. So he ends up finding a chick. She has a locknaw. Now I'm going to breeze through the rest of this. So now, Mr. Rudnick, she decides to make a deal. I'll give you the locknaw. You pay me the money. So they met up on this bridge. He gave her the money. She gave him the locknaw. She goes back to the cab. Now she's in the back seat, y'all. He's like, yo, baby, we're rich. What do you want to do?
Was rich? Oh, well, it's the
80s. They're not using American currency. It was I forgot what they called it, man, but whatever.
Okay.
So he was like, yo, man, we're rich. Where do you want to go? And he was like, she said, you know what, Harry? I'm taking it all. Pull over. She pulls out a gun on him. She said, I'm taking it all. He said, you sure this is what you want? Says, yeah.
Facts.
And he pressed that button and fried her ass. EJ, what up? Fried her ass and disintegrated her. She dead now. And he says, well, I'm going to chalk this up as a 2-day trip with one hell of a tip.
Yep.
And he left. And I said, that guy's an absolute rock star. So he got the money. He ain't got no problems. The bitch is gone. And he just skirted off. And that's how the first story ends. Rudnick opens up the glass case and grabs the locknaw. And it melts him. And then we go on to the next story. So that's the first story he told the girl in the house after killing her father. Now, it sounds like a lot, but it's not. That's what I'm saying. This movie is a must watch. So Harry Canyon was the first story that the green orb called the Lochnar told her. But
story, Drew, can I just say, you see how I tell you the similarities between the One Ring and the green orb? Because she seemed like a good, wholesome girl that was just trying to get out of trouble.
Yeah.
Look what it did. It made her greedy. It made her want the money. It made her turn against Harry, somebody who saved her life.
Yep. Made her different, and she paid for it. She paid for it with her life. I applauded that. I applaud that, man. Pull a gun on me. Out of here. The next story is Den. From what I understand, there was actual comic books about this character by way of heavy metal. This character was voiced and narrated. The story was narrated by John Candy, the actor John Candy. He died. I think he died in the 90s. But he was funny as hell. This story is about a nerdy teenager finds a green meteorite. Now, in this case, the meteor crashes in his backyard near his house, and he adds it to his rock collection. All right. During a lighting experiment, as you can see right there, that's him. The orb hurls a young man into a place called Neverwhere, where he transforms into a naked diesel man called Den. So he goes from being
He
a nerdy
turned black,
dude.
Drew. Just
He
tell
turned
him,
black.
Drew.
He turned black. He turned into the Rock. Before the Rock, he turned into the Rock. He turned into a big old diesel dude, right? It was an acronym. If you don't know, David Ellis Norman. That was his full name. So the acronym was DEN. He witnesses a strange ritual, and he rescued a young woman from being sacrificed to the Ulatik. All right, he jumps into the water, drags her to safety. Now, mind you, y'all, there's a lot of things that I chose not to put here. I think this was the most nudity in the whole damn thing. And again,
Thanks.
when he came to that pyramid type thing, Shorty was ass naked on the thing. They're about to sacrifice her. And there's a lot of these animal looking dudes around. It was crazy. So he jumps down there and he saves her. And then he realized with the new body, he could fight and everything else. And
he said, I can't walk around here because when he first popped up, Drew, remember he was naked.
Yeah, he was
first
ass
got
naked.
To the planet. He said, I can't pop up with my doinker out. He
yeah,
exactly. I was like, I never heard that term. Maybe
he was like, no hair, big. And then he looked down. He's like, there's no way I can walk around here with my doinker hanging out. He grabbed something and he
like wraps himself.
So he saved this chick, right? And she so happened to be from Earth, where he was from.
Yes.
And now she's like, well, you saved my life. I only know one way to thank you. And they start banging out of the water they just crawled out of, where he saved their life. And they're interrupted.
Yep.
They're interrupted by these goons that look like these Lord of the Rings looking ass dudes. They're like not human, right? So then they take her to see this woman in charge named Ard. Now, if you look down on that picture, wait a minute.
Yo, she was kind of Drew. She was kind of look. I didn't think it was gonna go like that for him.
Yeah. Now watch this, right? Ard is an immortal man who wants to obtain the Lochnar for himself. And he demands to see Catherine. The chick's name that he saved is named Catherine. So he demands to see her. And he ends up beating up the goons and takes their gun. And he's like, yo, give me the girl or die. He said, I'll choose death. So he blicks this dude. Now, this dude, Ard, is he's a fairy. He represents that European, Roman type of Bhaktiman, main biker salute. And he blicks him, and the wounds heal right in front of him. And he says, man, I see why they made this guy the leader. Because he's immortal. He can't die.
Vandal Savage. He the white Vandal Savage.
Yeah, exactly. So he says, yo, look, you're going to go in and steal the Lochnar for me and bring it back. And he says, what if I refuse? Well, the girl, Catherine, is cased in this glass case. He's like, yo, she's dead. He's like, no. She's sleeping, but only I can awaken her. And he's like, what do you want? He says, I want you to go steal the Lochnar for me. That's it. And he says, what if I refuse? He said, if you refuse, she dies, you die, everybody dies. And he was like, well, that's reasonable to me. So he gets with this guy's goons and they go off to go steal the Lochnar. And then these tunnels and this damn monster comes out and eats half of them. It was crazy. So Dan sees the Lochnar in this room, right? So he walks into the room to reach out and try and grab it, and he grabs a handful of boobs. And then the lights came on, and they backed the camera up. He had two handfuls in the scene right down here on the bottom right, two handfuls of boobs, and they drew them perfectly. He was like, holy shit. So then they grab him, and he's trying to fight them off, but there was too many of them. So they grab him. So then he said, the guy, they says, hey, man, what do you want us to do? Should we slit his throat? So at first the woman's like, yeah, slit his throat. He was like, thank you, Your Majesty. And then she's like, wait a minute. She took a second look at him. She says, no, I have something better else in mind. She said, let him go. And then she told him, come with me. Those dudes says, geez, not again. Meaning
she was known
for slamming these dudes. And then she was like, look, one of the dudes was like, look, she's a queen. She can do whatever she wants.
That's a fact, though.
They were like, yeah, sure. So she takes Den back there, and he starts clapping her cheeks, right?
It's like, if you could please me. What she said, yep. Drew?
If you could please me, you could live. And she starts talking this poetic stuff. She's like, yeah, you know, the sun, the moon, the stars, it's a sign. He was like, yes, a sign. And then you hear him narrating, says, I have no idea what she's talking about. But this was great. He said, he got laid twice.
He said 2 in 1 day. Yep, that's exactly what he said.
2 in 1 day. He said, this is the greatest place ever. But then
he said, this would have never happened on Earth.
This would have never happened on Earth. So the International Quiet Storm, salute. Anthony Bolton, salute. So then the goons kick the door and they say, yo, Your Majesty, someone stole the Lochnar. And she jumps up and she says, you betrayed my love. She tries to grab the gun, but he grabs the guns and he gets busy, and then he jumps out the window, dives into the water, whatever. He escapes. So now this little nigga has the Lochnar, right? And he's doing some ritual with his people, and her people show up, and there's this big ass war. So then they're fighting, right? So now Shorty, right here in the purple, right here, down on the bottom right hand side, runs up on them, and now they fighting over the Lochnar, right? I'm accelerating this story. And now there's like thunder and lightning. So then she runs up and tries to grab it. Now, it's very important that you listen to the dialogue. So then she grabs it. She says, the Lochnar is mine. And he said, you stupid bitch, get away from me. Family, it's 1981. I never heard dialogue like this in a movie, in a cartoon movie. You got to understand. He said, you stupid bitch, get away from me. She's like, yo, it's mine. It's mine. So they fighting over it. So Den kicks a chain into the water, takes a spear, throws it up there where they're fighting. It goes right up over them. Some lightning hits them, and it fries them, and they disappear. The Lochnar falls. Go subscribe to Comic Cons right here. Let me pin that. The Lochnar falls on the floor, right? And let me pin that. That's Act Second Channel, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all go subscribe. And Shorty Catherine is like, Den, you can rule all of these people. And they put the camera on all the people. Everyone's all beat up, eyes hanging out their head. He was like, yo, forget it. No thanks. I'm good. And they hop on a horse or whatever the fuck that was, and they just ride off into the sunset. And dude was like, she says, well, Den, you can use a Lochnar to go back to Earth. He says, nah, I'm good here. He said, on Earth, I'm nobody, but here I'm Den.
That's it. You see, Drew, but that's what I like. I like this. Out of all the stories he told, I like this one because he was grateful. That's what we call being grateful. Like he got misplaced, he got transformed, but it was in a good way. In his mind, he was a nerd. He was going nowhere fast. You know what I mean? Yep. Here he got brain and brawn.
Yep.
And I'm not mad at him. He was happy. He was grateful.
He stayed right there with no internet, nothing. Whatever the hell they had down there. He was living like a caveman, but he was grateful. And he got the girl at the end. You know what I mean? So he was cool. So that was the second story that there's the Lochnar's telling this girl in the house, right? Third story. This right here. This right here is the funniest. This to me was the funniest one. As you can see by the artwork, It's made to be funny. Captain Stern. Your thoughts on Captain Stern?
You know, Captain Stern was out of control, man. His big chin. Well, I thought that was Jay Leno when he was young. I thought that was I'm serious. Like, Jay Leno probably could have played him back then if they would have did a live action. He'd have probably had black hair.
Yup.
And then we're in the court. See, I like this one too, because y'all know I'm the judge. It was a court set. I'm gonna let Drew take it from here. Yo. That's all I'm gonna say about that. We was in a court set.
So the Lochnar, you know, it breaks away from the staff it was attached to in the world of Den. It flies up into space, and it goes up on this space station where you're in the courtroom by Captain what was his name? James T. Stern or whatever the hell his name is. James Stern is Lincoln Stern. Lincoln Stern. And he's a spoof off of Captain Kirk, but he looks like Superman, but he's a jerk. And he's on trial. He has serious charges against him. Let me read a little bit of it. A crooked space captain, Lincoln F. Stern, is on trial for numerous serious charges presented by the prosecutor, consisting of 12 counts of murder in the first degree, 14 counts of armed theft on Federation property, 22 counts of piracy in high space, 18 counts of fraud, 37 counts of grape, and 1 moving violation. Wait a fucking minute. Whoa! What? Hey, yo.
He was supposed to be in the electric chair. I don't know what they gonna have in the future, but whatever they had, lethal injection, whatever.
Yo.
That's exactly, he was supposed to be on death row.
Bro. Yo, wait a minute.
In my courtroom, he would have been on death row.
Yo, bro.
I would have wanted lethal injection. I would have wanted the electric chair.
Listen.
I think only under dramatic circumstances you could do it in New York. I think I could be wrong. I think we still have it, but it gotta be. But they give you lethal injection. Yeah.
Because this dude met the criteria. So he's in the courtroom, and they said, "How do you plead?" He said, "Not guilty," and walked off. And everyone in the court was like, "What?" And his lawyer, Charlie, he says, "Listen, I'm going to get acquitted." And he said, "Not guilty? Are you nuts?" He says, "You're as guilty as a cat in a goldfish bowl." He says, "Yo, it's okay, Charlie. I got an angle." He said, "What angle?" He said, "Him." And in walks that poor soul down there, the skinny dude named Hannibal Fist. And they called him. Calling Hannibal Fist. And he walks in. And he takes the stand. And what does he have in his hand? A little marble, a little green marble that he had picked up in the beginning of the episode. And guess what that green marble is? That good old Lochnar. All right. Now, he bribed Hannibal Fist to make him look like a saint. Right? So Fist takes a stand, and he's called by the prosecutor. But his perjury is subverted when the Lochnar size marble court. The Lochnar starts to make him tell the truth, right? And he says, the Stern is a overflowing cup of goodness. This is how he sounded, and he's rolling the marble around with his finger. And they say, "Well, do tell me more." And he says he's never done anything in marble, and then he like twitches like, He said, except maybe the preschooler's prostitute ring. And he was like, huh? I said, what the fuck? Preschooler's prostitute ring? It was like, what? And then he says, well, he's never done anything immoral. And then he twitches again. And he goes, unless you count all the times he's so dope as a nun. We was like, what? So then he twitches again. The judge is looking at him. And he twitches again. And the Lochnar is making Hannibal Fist have this breakdown. And then he goes, Stern. He's nothing but a low-down, double-dealing, backstabbing, worse than his perverted word. Hanging's too good for him. Burning's too good for him. He should be torn into little itsy-bitsy pieces and buried alive. I'll kill him. And the whole time he turns into the White Hulk. He destroys the court.
Yes, he does.
That's crazy. You know, I know all the lines. That goes to tell you how many times I watched this movie. He destroys the courtroom. People go running. And he's running from this dude in the space station. Him and that little robot that's just an eyeball with arms. And he's chasing Stern. He's knocking over buildings. He's slapped. This dude turned bulletproof. He's chasing Stern through the goddamn... He's chasing him through the space station. He's knocking shit over. He destroyed a whole building on the space station. It was crazy. And he finally catches Stern. And Stern says, all right, you had this coming. And then he froze like, what? Like, was he about to fight now? He pulls out a wad of money. He says 35,000 Zuleks, which I guess that's money to them. He said, thanks, Hanover. And he shrinks right back down into the little twerp that he was. He said, it's nothing, boss. He says, in Hanover, yes, goodbye. And he pulls that lever. If you look in the bottom right hand of the screen, he pulls a lever. Hanover falls into space while holding the Lochnar. And you see his hand. And when it goes past the screen, it's just his hand. And his hand is on fire. Because the Lochnar now enters back into Earth's orbit. And we go into the next story. Your thoughts on that segment with Captain Stern?
I was a little disappointed. I wanted to see Captain Stern. I was Captain Stern got away. Well, I can't say that, Drew. We don't know. We don't know what happened after, like, once Homeboy entered the atmosphere and all of that. We don't know what happened with Stern. I'm pretty sure because he was supposed to be one of the witnesses to testify against Stern. You know what I mean? Him saying what he said. I don't know why Stern paid him, because I don't know what the courtroom thought, but he did kill a lot of people, you know, in the courtroom. So I still would like to know what happened to Stern with a few people in the stories, but I like this one because I like the court setting. I did like this one because of the court setting.
Yeah. He's actually a character that had a bit of his own series run in the Heavy Metal comics. I guess that's why he doesn't get caught. He's an actual character, so he doesn't get caught, but he's an asshole. So the Lochnar falls back into Earth. Now, mind you, these stories are stories that the Lochnar's actually telling this little girl. And I'm still trying to figure out, why is he telling this little girl all this stuff? Well, now the Lochnar crashes into the B-17. And I forget which world war the B-17s flew in. Forgive me. But things get a little more serious here. The B-17. I'm sorry, World War II, the B-17 bomber, nicknamed the Pacific Pearl, makes a difficult bomb run and suffers heavy damage. They were getting blicked off in this thing. This right here had the most violence in it right here. They were getting blicked off in that plane. People getting shot up. It was crazy. All the crew except the pilot and the co-pilot are killed by gunfire, right? The bomber limps home. The co-pilot goes back to check on the crew, finding nothing but dead bodies. I mean, it was graphic. Again, it's 81, y'all. This was graphic, but these are the things that they drew in Heavy Metal magazine. All right, he notices the Lochnar tailing the plane. Right? He informed the pilot and heads back to the cockpit. The Lochnar rams into the damn plane. Right? And it reanimates all the dead bodies. Basically, they turned to zombies. Right? So the dead crew starts waking up. So the co-pilot goes back there and he says, "Oh wait, somebody's alive." Back where the gun pod was. So he opens up the gun pod. "Yo, you all right?" Zombie snatches him in there and kills him. So then the pilot is looking around like, "What the fuck's going on?" He sees all his crew. They up and now they're trying to eat him. He jumps out the goddamn plane. Right? There was barely any dialogue here. He jumps out the plane with a parachute, lands on the island. He lands on the goddamn island, and there's zombies on the island. So basically, they eat the pilot too. So he ain't make it. He ain't make it. This was a quick one, but it was messed up.
It made sense. It was nowhere to go. It was nowhere to go, Drew.
Yeah,
it was nowhere to go. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So this one made probably the most sense to me because there's nowhere to go, and then the bodies, basically, it was Night of the Living Dead in a little spaceship.
Yup.
You know what I'm saying? And the green orb. I never seen out of all the stories anybody get brought back from the dead. This was the first mini story that they had that I seen in the movie where they brought people back from the dead. So it was understandable how it ended.
Yeah,
that's all I really got on it.
No way to go. So the next story, we do got the death penalty, capital punishment state. Yeah, New York. It's not a capital punishment state. We fucking need it because some niggas need to go. But that's just me. Now this story, again, you see how they drew the young lady. Everything was OD. You know what I mean? So this one is called So Beautiful and So Dangerous. This was crazy. All right. Dr. Anrak, he was a prominent scientist. He arrives to the Pentagon for a meeting regarding mysterious mutations that are plaguing the United States. Right? At the meeting, the doctor tries to dismiss the occurrences. So they're trying to figure out what the hell's going on. When he sees the Lochnar in a locket on this woman's necklace that you see right there, her name is Gloria. She's a beautiful stenographer. He begins.
That's my older sister's name, Drew.
Oh yeah. So that's creepy.
That's why.
You know, there's a song named after her, right? From the early 80s.
Yeah, I know. We always played on my sister Gloria's birthday.
How did they get your number? He begins to behave erratically, and he motorboats her. You know what a motorboat is? Do you know what a motorboat is?
I never heard. I know. I heard of the sneakers, the motorboat Joneses, but
motorboat is
yeah.
It's a throwback term. It's a throwback term. It's like when you put your JC, my brother, what's good? It's when you put your face in some boobs and go boo.
Oh, okay.
It's called motorboating. It's called motorboating. So you motorboat.
Okay, you know what's crazy? I never knew that one. I never knew that one. Okay.
Yeah. It's actually on Wikipedia. You can look it up. So the Lochnar makes people act crazy, right? So he starts tweaking, and then he motorboats her, and people are like, yo, what the fuck's going on? And at that same time, this super duper huge starship comes over the Pentagon. As you can see right here, you see that starship that looks like a happy face? It's over the Pentagon. That's the Pentagon down there. That's how big that spaceship is. So it drills, some pod comes down, some big old like tube comes down. It drills through the roof and abducts the doctor, and it takes Gloria by accident. Right? The ship's robot is irritated at Arnak, who is actually he is a malfunctioning robot. Come to find out that the doctor, the scientist, was a robot that was malfunctioning. And he was messed up. But its mood changes when it sees Gloria. So this robot is sexually turned on by Gloria. It's 1981, y'all. A robot is sexually aroused by a human woman. All right. With the help of the ship's alien pilot, Edsel, and the co-pilot Zeke, the robot convinces Gloria to stay because they could have put her back, but they made up some bullshit, and she ended up staying on the ship.
Didn't she say she had to go to her parents' house for dinner or something like
she
that?
said, I have to be at my parents' house for dinner. And he says, well, there's something going on and you got to stay. Right? So they take off. And yes, the chick ends up banging the damn robot.
Yup, he scored.
Yeah, the robots. You see the robot on the far right-hand side? That's him. She banged that thing. And she was laying in the bed, ass naked, full frontal, big boobs.
Smoking a cigarette.
Snatched waist, full bush, right? And she says, man, that was the best thing I ever had. And she pointed out, she asked him to marry her. And he was like, all right, I'll marry. He asked her to marry him. And she says, all right, I'll marry you, but I want a Jewish wedding. That's what she said. And he was like, what? That was the big old joke. So these dudes, these slackers, the pilot and co-pilot, the craziest scene in this was not the sex scene. The craziest thing in this was the cocaine. They had a whole barrel with a machine that put lines all around the floor of the ship, and they snorted the whole thing. They were like, snow time. And they snorted the whole thing. And they were hallucinating while they were piloting the damn ship. Yeah, nosedive. It was called nosedive, not snow time. They said nosedive, and they snorted the whole thing. Homie, the green alien was snorting it with his head, with that tentacle on his head. It was crazy. And they were sitting there high. They saw all kinds of spaceships, and they were hallucinating. It was crazy. And then they land on this space station, and that was I forgot what story that was, like the third or fourth story. It was crazy. And Tay, what up?
What's good, sis? Yeah, go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, your thoughts on this story. This was just crazy.
Well, I think we need to give them a copyright strike, Drew. And this is my reason why. The spaceship. What does that remind you of? What game did you grow up playing? This is my mother's favorite game. What game do you think of when you played it? When you see that spaceship? You don't think of Pac-Man?
Oh yeah,
you of all people. Okay. That's the first thing that I thought. I said, "Whoa, this is the Pac-Man shit with ears."
Yeah, man, Pac-Man with ears.
What's the name already knew? What's the name in the chat? Tiago already knew. He said Pac-Man.
Yep, and it was 81, so I think Pac-Man was around.
Yeah, because my mom told me she was playing Pac-Man on the Atari.
Yep. This yeah, you might be onto something. I wonder if they now I'd have known about that. But goodness. I guess Pac-Man ain't want to affiliate itself with this. You're like, yo, what are you trying to say? Pac-Man is in the redheads with big boobs? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like that's crazy. You know,
And
I guess that's why they added the
I
ears.
guess she was Jewish because you said she. I forgot about that part. She wanted to have a Jewish wedding.
She said she wanted a Jewish wedding. So then we had a clown session. It's like a serious story, a semi-serious story, a clown story, a serious story, and another clown story. Nobody really died in this one. And then we go to the last story. Tarna. Now, this is the highlight of the movie right here. This is where the Lochnar explains what's going on. Okay, the Lochnar crashes on this planet. They're not specific on what this planet is. And let me read to you what it says. The Lochnar is able to change its size. It crashes into a volcano, right? And a lot of people were curious as to what the hell that was. And it draws the attention to a lot of curious people. And they begin to climb the volcano. Why people climbing volcanoes, I don't know. But it erupts and some green slime covers the crowd and it mutates them into an evil barbarian army, right? And they turn to like mutants and they subsequently attack a nearby city of peaceful scholars, you know, and desperate, the city leaders mentally summon the Tarakians, once powerful yet now declining warrior race with whom the city had a pact with. But the city falls before they can call call the Tarakians. And the way they call the Tarakians is sort of like an ancient chant. They grab hands and they start summoning them. But in that city, when these dudes turned barbaric, they went into this city. I'm gonna let you tell them. When they went into the city, what did those barbarians do?
My fault, Drew. Hold it down real quick. I'm sorry. I got a call. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, these dudes, after they got covered by the slime, homie who was the alpha male, when the slime went away, and he had a robotic hand, right? He comes out the slime, and the first thing he says is death. Death to all who oppose us. And they go to this city and they're killing everything. Men, women, children. They come in there with flamethrowers. They're burning people.
That's a fact. They kill everything. Chris Benoit. Not to be funny, but
bro, they killed everything, bro. They killed everything. And they ran up in the scholars. And they're doing the chant. They're trying to get the Tarakians. It was like, yo, the Tarakians are dead. He's like, nah, there's one that still lives. He says, well, we don't know. So they start calling the Tarakians. These dudes kick the door in, shoot homie, that bald-headed homie, they shot him up with arrows and killed him. And it turns out one Tarakian answered, and it was her, Tarna, the woman with the white hair. And she shows up wearing a hoodie, and she inspects the town and finds the scholar beheaded. And they showed it. His head was on the floor. It was crazy. And she goes to her temple, and she takes off the robe, and she's naked.
Now, she about 40. Yeah. But she hot, y'all.
Yeah.
But Drew, tell them the twist. Are we gonna get to that part yet? Who she really is?
Yeah, well, we're gonna get to it. Jose, what's good? So she jumps in the water, and it's a beautiful thing, and she's swimming. She gets up out the water again, full frontal. She got about maybe C cups, full matching white hair down south, full frontal bush, and then they play the exotic music as she's getting dressed. You see that red? She puts on the knee pads and the she puts all of that stuff on, and it's so elegant how she does it. And they zoom in the camera in, and then she rides this. I don't even know what to call that. That's like a bird.
It's not. It's like a pterodactyl mixed with a bird.
Yeah, like a lizard bird, and it makes a weird noise. It should be flying around talking about roo, roo. And she hops on that thing and starts flying into town. And she's tracking down the people that wrecked that town. And she comes up on this bar. And these guys are in the bar and they're beating people up, whatever. She comes into the bar wearing a thong, by the way. Look at the upper left-hand side. This is the bar scene. And the dude walks up to her and says, yo, check her out, right? And he says, yo, she doesn't talk. He says, yo, she doesn't have to talk with what I want to do with her. So then she takes her beer. Oh, by the way, real quick. When she walks into the bar and they're talking to her, there's a band playing. They're playing weird instruments. And like I said, the soundtrack to this is official. If you listen carefully, I got some music playing in the background, but I have to play it at a low decibel because YouTube is weird. The music played in the bar scene is from a group that y'all might know named Devo. Google them, but they were really big in the 80s. Some white boys they wore these what I call Qbert hats, and their hit song was "Whip It." Ak, I know you've heard that song. You probably heard that song, even know what it was called.
Yeah, yep. I didn't know who did it though. You talk about "Whip It"?
Yep, whip it good.
Whip it good.
Yep, that's Devo. Yep. And they were on this soundtrack, and their song was called "Through Being Cool," and it was played in the bar scene here. And she takes her drink and smacks dude in the face, and dude falls on the floor. He says, hey, she's tough. Dude says, maybe she wants to fight. The third dude says, maybe she wants to take us all on. She pulled that sword out and took their goddamn heads right off. And the bodies just fell. And looked at that last dude, took his head off. And then asked the bartender, because she didn't talk. She doesn't talk. And then she held up the symbol. It was like, yo, where can I find these people? He's like, yo, they're beyond the mountains over there. You know what I'm saying? So then she gets on her bird, flies over there. That bar scene. What was your thoughts on that bar scene?
First of all, how she strolled up in there, Drew.
Yeah, with a thong on her ass.
The thong choker. I never seen that before. That's ahead of its time. You know, Tay, I'm not a perv. This Drew wanted to go see this at 6 years old, and you calling me? My mom was a paramedic for Harlem Hospital and a church lady for Riverside. Bro, you think I would have ever gotten that theater? Are you crazy? I would have had to lie. I'd had to lie to my mom to say it was like a video game showing or something like that to get up in there. And she still probably wouldn't have believed that. So your dad was on point.
Yep.
Your dad knew. See, this is what I mean when me and my sister talked about it. My sister before me. If we ever had kids, we got to watch they stuff, even though my mom didn't do that. And it is kind of unfair. She didn't do that. But I got to watch it before they watch it. I have to. I have to. Because look, even in the 80s, look, Look at this. All they was doing was sexing, and all the girls were stacked.
Yep.
All they was doing, like, but yeah, with that scene, Drew, as far as how I felt, she said, "What's with the choke?"
No, man, it's the 80s.
Oh, she was just thugging, and I liked how she didn't talk. To be honest with you, I didn't know the connection from the beginning until now.
Right.
That was one of my thoughts, because now I know who she is and her purpose. I didn't, I didn't know that.
We gonna get to it.
And as far as that dragon thing, and like I said, I kind of liked her swag. I was feeling her swag too.
Yeah, she was about that business.
The ruthless aggression and how she was fearless. I like that. She reminded me of Wonder Woman. She reminded me of Diana of the mascara.
Yeah, she was
about that work.
What
I'm talking about.
she was about that work. She was about that work. So she leaves the bar. And she's flying on her thing, and then she's flying through the mountains, and the neck comes down and catches her. Right? So they capture her. The barbarians capture her, and they torture her. So the dude goes to the boss, and he says, "We captured a Tarakian," because they have a symbol on their neck. And he says, "Oh, it's a Tarakian." He said, "Boss, we captured the Tarakian." And then he chokes him. And he says, "Tarakian." He says, "The Tarakians are dead." He says, no. Look, she's a Tarakian. He says, "All right, bring her to me." He says, "What about the bird? Kill it." Right? So then they bring it to her, and she's, again, they strip her as if she's already naked. She's ass naked again, tied up. And they start torturing her. They're asking her questions. She don't speak. Right? And they throw her down into this pit. Right? So now they're trying to kill the bird. The bird starts flinging people around. It escapes, flies down into the pit. They threw her clothes or whatever. So she gets redressed. Now it's not as sexy because she's cut up and everything else. She gets on the bird, and now she's trying to finish the job. Right? She flies up, and now the volcano's making noise. Flies up on homie. Now they're having a duel to the death. Right? And she has her sword. She tries to cut him. He blocks it with now his metal hand turned into a blade. Cuts her at the ribs. And he's cheating, man. He got whips and shit, tying up her sword, knocks her on the floor, because that's still a man, y'all. Grabs her by the hair, and he says, "Now you die, Tarakian bitch." And the fucking bird that's also wounded bites him in the leg and breaks his leg. He starts screaming. Yo, she took that motherfucker's own arm, and as you can see right there on the bottom, it made him, he ate that blade, cut him all up in his throat, and he's gargling and shit. He falls to his knees. She yanks that helmet off his head and balls up her fist and punches through his fucking face. Blood everywhere. That shit was, that was incredible. Punched a hole in his head. Killed him. And now his people are looking around like, all right, well, what do we do now? He's dead. She gets on the bird. The bird isn't critical. She's cut up, bleeding out. Flies up over the volcano. The Loch Ness in the volcano talking about, you can't destroy me. She put that sword. Look at the lower right hand side. She holds a sword like that. The lightning hits her. She falls in the volcano. The Loch Ness starts screaming, "No!" Whatever she was, she had the power to kill that damn thing. Falls in there, and it starts to self-destruct. And now this is where we go into the epilogue. The Loch Ness imploding. It's destroyed from the inside out because Tana done fell inside of it, right? We go back to the little girl in the house. The Loch Ness now blows up. The house blows the fuck up. She gets out the house. She falls on the floor. And then the narrator starts speaking. And then you find out, where the hell is it? I went right back in. As the final story ends, the Lochnar that was terrorizing the girl destabilizes and begins to break up. The girl flees and the house blows up. The Lochnar then explodes, destroying the mansion in the process. And Tana is reborn. A purple bird comes out of nowhere, lands, and the girl's hair turns white. And she now has that symbol on her neck. Come to find out, the reason why that green orb called the Lochnar was fucking with her was because she was a Tarakian. And Tana's reborn through that girl. She hops on the bird and flies away. And that's how the movie ends. I said, all of that? Why you have to? And you see, that's the problem with villains. They always got a monologue. Just kill him. Just kill the hero.
Yeah, facts.
So this whole movie was an epilogue. I mean, this whole movie was about him finding the last Tarakian, and instead of just killing her, he goofs around telling a story, and Tana kills it. All you had to do was kill this little, I can't say, you know what I mean, because, YouTube is funny. Come to find out this chick is a Tarakian. Why is
I thought they was related. I thought they was related to something. At first, I thought it was her in the future. Then I watched it a second time. And like you said, I just found out she was just a Tarakian. She was just a relative.
The bloodline. That was crazy. But this movie was, I must have watched this 1,000 times, man. I have it on VHS somewhere. I have a VHS. I have 2 VHSs, and I have a bunch of tapes. I got Kung Fu movies. I need to upload, I got old videos of Video Soul on video. I should upload that stuff. Yeah, I should upload all of that stuff. I'm talking about stuff from the 80s. Not even the 90s. Stuff from the 80s. I should upload that stuff. I won't be able to monetize any of it, but my God, I really should. I got to find a way to upload that. I'll upload it right here too. Old stuff when it was new. Videos from 1985 when they were brand new. Yeah, man. But this movie, and we're gonna revisit the 80s reign of rock and that genre's influence on the 80s, because there was a lot of movies, and I said, man, well, actually not a lot. There were 3 more movies in particular that I wanted to cover, and I told Ack, I said, bro, I don't think I could cover all of this in one show. I got to do one movie at a time.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought that you was gonna talk about all of them, bro. I'm gonna keep it stacked. I thought that you was going, and I was like, damn, I hope he don't. But I did watch this one first, and I was able to watch Fire and Ice. I like Fire and Ice because Fire and Ice, those type of movies I kind of like.
Bro,
you got me. So
how did they draw the woman? How did they draw the women?
She was stacked, and I'm gonna keep it real. I gotta keep it real with you, Drew. She reminded me of one of my exes.
Was she Dominican?
Girl. Yeah, she reminded me, and she was from the Bronx.
Yep.
She grew up in the Heights, but was raised in the Bronx.
My God, yeah. Yeah, Rod, Donnie Simpson. Yeah, I'm gonna find out how to upload. I got 8-hour tapes with Video Soul on it. I hope they still work. Shit. But yeah, man.
That one wasn't as bad. If your dad would have let you see that one, Fire Ice, it still showed a lot. It was very revealing as far as shapes.
Yeah,
because she was in that thong the whole movie. They were showing angles like Kurt.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Find out. Fire and Ice film. 83. Came out in 83.
Yeah,
We're gonna review 83. That next. 83.
And that's on Amazon Prime. You know what I mean? So I was able to pull that up easy because I got Prime.
So if y'all could find Heavy Metal the movie, Fire and Ice, the next time we do the 80s reign of rock, there's a movie called Rock and Rule. If you could find that. And there's an animated movie called American Graffiti, not the live action. The
Yeah. Because I seen the live action because I like George Lucas as a director.
Right. Find the animated one. Find the animated one. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, Shogun, Fritz the damn cat. Fritz the cat. Holy cow. Give me 1 second. Take over from me. Give me 1 second.
Okay. So I gotta give Drew a lot of credit because I'd never seen this movie before. And I think he had an idea that I'd never seen this movie before. Heavy Metal. It kind of took me on the journey. It reminded me of the comic book of The Mask and also the Lord of the Rings. Because like I said, that green orb, it twisted everything you did for evil. And I kind of was intrigued by that. I did like the other movie, Fire and Ice, a little bit better. I did like Fire and Ice a little bit better. So when we cover that, I don't know if Drew is going to do it next week. Next week is my birthday. You know what I mean? So I'll try to. I'll let Drew know if I'm gonna be able to build with him. Yeah, next week is my birthday. Next Friday is my birthday. So
that's dope.
So I'm gonna try to build with you on my B-Day. I'm gonna be off, so I'm gonna be well rested. So I should be able to definitely do it. You know what I mean? Because I got like a few days off because of my birthday week. My job gave me a few days off, and I kind of needed that. You know what I mean? From the gym, going to work and stuff like that. I kind of wanted that. So, so next Friday, you know what I mean? Shoot. Maybe we should do something I grew up off of.
Yeah. I'll let you run shit. Yeah. It's your birthday. Shogun, do me a favor. You see my my email down there, 1000slaps@gmail. Anything you want me to review, send it to me, brother.
Yeah, that's smart. I gotta do that. I gotta do that too, Drew. You just gave me an idea. I gotta do that too. And I still want to take Mac's idea and do the giveaways. I'm going I want to know what characters y'all like because we got great stores in New York City. Like when it comes to like the old action figures and stuff. Whatever's y'all favorite books, whatever, I want to do like a giveaway. But I kind of want to do a contest because I want to see what y'all know. You know what I mean? Before I give it away. You know what I mean? And give it to a person that I know knows their stuff. Drew is not allowed to be in the chat. Drew is not allowed. Drew is not allowed to be in the chat. Because I know Drew's going to be like, oh yeah, and stay ready. Drew and Stay Ready is not allowed in the competition. Stay Ready, definitely, he ain't allowed. Stay Ready know his shit. He is not allowed, especially if I talk about Batman.
Oh, forget it.
Stay Ready is not allowed to be in the
contest. When we get to the comics, we're going to need Stay Ready on the panel.
Yes, we are. Yes. Stay Ready know his stuff. Especially on the mark. I know both, Drew, but Stay Ready knows. She said, am I allowed? Tay, as long as we ain't talking about Superman. If we're talking about Superman, no, you're not allowed. You're not allowed. If we are talking about Superman, you're not allowed.
Yo, that's crazy. I can't wait for that. Yo, so next week, I'll let you take the wheel.
All right. I'll let you know ahead of time what I want to talk about. I got to think about that.
Absolutely.
Drew, I may be a little ahead of myself. It may be Dragon Ball Z, so get ready.
Hey, man.
We got
Steve Elder Mac. I mean, that's our lane right there. I'm with it.
We may have to do Dragon Ball Z, yeah. Or Dragon Ball, whatever. Just the series as a whole. And all right. I don't know what we're gonna talk about from it, maybe the best stories or whatever, but I'll figure something out. But right now I'm thinking Dragon Ball Z.
Let's do it. Shogun, make sure you hit my email because I forgot about Fritz the Cat. Thank you. Hit me up, Shogun. Hit my email's right down there, 1000slaps@gmail.com. Hit me up with a list, and we'll review everything. This is what this channel's for. You know what I mean? We'll review everything. You know what I mean? So yeah, man. Don't forget, Axe Comic Cons is pinned to the top. Y'all make sure y'all go.
Oh yeah,
subscribe.
tomorrow. Can I tell them what I got going tomorrow?
Absolutely,
Drew?
go ahead.
Sorry,
Absolutely.
I should have. I got a special guest. My bro Cadillac Red is joining me. We will be covering at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be covering the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, first gen, Gen 1. So we will be covering that. You know how they always say we form like Voltron. I always say the Megazord. I always say the Megazord because the Megazord is more, it's more my era.
Yeah, I got you.
I always say the Megazord. You know, even though I liked it, rest in peace to the green, to Tommy, the Green Ranger and the White Ranger.
Yeah, that was sad.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I met him at a Comic Cons too. So that was crazy that he ended up passing away a little bit after that. The last Comic Con I went to, he was there.
Yeah, that's tough, bro. That's tough.
Yeah, I didn't realize. You know, like it's been that long. You know what I mean? Like, you know, sometimes you don't realize because all of the rest of the people, I believe they're still alive and in good health.
Yeah. No, wait. The Yellow Ranger, she's not here. She's not with us.
Oh, Trainee. Oh, she passed?
Yeah, I think she had a car accident or something. She's not here.
Wow.
She was the first one to go. That was crazy. Yeah, I think.
Okay. I will.
I think she died. I don't quote me, but I think she's passed the Yellow Ranger. And why the Asian had to be the Yellow Ranger? That was some bullshit.
And the Black Ranger was black.
Was a black? Yeah, that was crazy. I said, God damn.
See, should I bang the gavel again, Drew? Because it's Black History.
Got to. I picked right up on that.
God.
I was in high school when that came out.
Gotta bang the gavel on y'all for that.
They ain't have
Black
to do
History
that shit.
Month. They didn't. Come on, man. They didn't have to make the Yellow Ranger yellow, the Black Ranger black.
Black one was a black, yellow was yellow. Like, God damn.
I'm gonna bring that up on my channel tomorrow with Red.
Yeah, that was.
And Red probably gonna laugh. He gonna be like, "Well, you know, I already know already." He's gonna be like, "Well, you know."
Oh man, that's fucked up, man. But yeah, man, I'll be at work, but I'm gonna tune in on my break when you live and shit. I'm always there. 3 of those likes be from me, by the way.
Oh yeah. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt, man. But we had fun today. That was heavy metal, and this is only the first installment.
Oh, she did die from a car accident.
Car accident, yeah. Jimmy Bernard, salute. He said, yeah, okay, yeah.
What year was that? Could somebody tell me the year?
Oh shit! Don't give me.
I don't know why I always gotta know the date.
I want to say it was the 90s.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a car. It was crazy. That shit made the news. If I remember, it made the news. I was like, whoa! It was long after they were done working. That was crazy, man. But this was a dope show. The 80s reign of rock, the music and everything. Rock had a 96. She died.
God damn.
Yeah. The 80s, the rock music, the rock era, it was a genre, and it was heavy influence in art, fantasy art, music, and movies and animation. You know, this was great, man. So I love it here, and this is what we do. So next Friday, Axe gonna take the wheel. I'm gonna let him run the bed cave. We're gonna be talking about DBZ. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, hell yeah. And the General's on. And let's head over there and talk some boxing. I just give it a rest on Fridays. And yo, Act, we in the Barclays. We in the Barclays.
Yeah. I already know. I seen that. And my boy at my job, he was like, yo, bro, because I told him about what you did. He's like, yo, bro, could I come with you? I told him about what you did when we went to the Wilder Hellenius fight. He's like, can I come with you? I was like, yo, that was a crazy vibe. I was like, I had a good time with the family though. Yeah, definitely. We gotta talk. We're gonna talk about that.
We're gonna talk. All right, good brother, man. Thank you for joining me. Let's head over to the General. And Y'all take it gently. See y'all next week back here. Bear Cave!